Hi all, Wind here. Today's video I wanted to show how we can use special handling notes on user records. Now it's a very simple implementation. However, there are a few prerequisites that you need to do, and it could be really handy as well for your service desk team, or any analyst, depending on the note. For today's video, we're going to do a specific requirement and going to do it from scratch, so you can see how simple this is. You could always modify this depending on your requirement or use case that you require to use this for. So let's talk about special handling notes. So first of all, this functionality in ServiceNow, it allows you to essentially have certain notes on a particular user or some sort of attribute, or even on incidents, depending on where you want to showcase this, and provide some notes in order for you to be aware of something that is occurred on this attribute of this user, and therefore may have certain specific instructions or messages that you want to provide to that particular analyst. So the first prerequisite that you will need is this functionality is part of the CSM product suite, so you will have to have licenses or have bought that particular product, but then it can be used across the different tables, which user record being one, which I will showcase an incident. So that's the first thing, but usually this is used for cases and accounts where an account could be escalated, and there's some out-of-the-box special handling notes that are provided as part of this suite, but we will be creating a new one on this specific new requirement. So first things first, to install this plugin and this functionality, this is the plugin that you would want to be able to install. I've already installed it on my PDI, so once you've installed it, then we'll essentially move to the next step. Now the next step would be essentially to go to special handling notes. So let's go. Okay, here we go. So we got special handling notes. So I'm just going to click on this. And as you can see, there's a few already that's been generated. So we've got one where P1 is created for critical business service and one account escalate. So we're just going to create a new one. So the requirement that we will be looking at today is the fact if a user is suspended, then we want to escalate that, because generally it means that their account, we shouldn't be doing any requests or instance on their account. So for now we'll do instance and also show it on the profile screen. Suspended, we will be creating a new attribute, Boolean flag, just to showcase this, but you can do this in many ways, but just to provide how we could do it on a particular attribute. So suspended user. Okay, so that's the particular message that will pop up when we have this enabled. We'll keep it, so we'll make this conditional, and we will need to create the attribute before we could apply this, but we will do that. For the expires on, we'll just pick today, but then I'm just going to increase the year to something like 34, so this will last for 10 years. There's no way to keep it forever, but we can essentially just keep extending this to how long we need it. And then what we want to do, we want to use a user. So before we could do that, let's save this for now, because there's as I mentioned, there is a few things we need to do. So I'm just gonna save this record for now, so we have this blank canvas that we can come back to and essentially run. So I'm just going to duplicate this tab so we can then go back to special handling notes. There's a few things we need to we'll go through each of these actually. So first of all, let's go through the properties. So these are the number of notes that could be displayed in the special handling notes pop-up window. So we'll leave it at 20. It just means that there's additional that are triggered. You could have a maximum of 20. So we'll leave it to the out of the box. Display special handling notes once per session. So I'm going to select no just so we can constantly see how this looks like. But this is a good attribute to keep true if you don't want to keep bombarding users with notes every time they go to that particular thing, and when they log out and log back in or delete the session, then it will come back again in terms of that pop-up. And we'll leave that out of the box as well, which is the width of that message, and we'll see how that looks like when we've done it. So that's the properties. Now in configuration, this is where we will need to look to add the user table here. So what we're going to do is if we click on new, okay, and then we just find sys_user, okay. Related fields, let's pick okay, so for now I will select name, but again we will need to create the field that we want. So let us go and create that field so we can come back. So once again I will just duplicate this tab. Okay, so we'll click on any record here. Let's just go to configure, form layout, and let's create a new field quickly. Let's make it true or false, and we'll just add. So now this will come up here, and then just pop it all the way just below locked out. Okay, so we can see it here now. Let's just assume suspended means that they are on their way out, so technically they're still an active record in our Active Directory and Azure Active Directory. So when we select that, it just means that we just want to let you know they're on the way out, and essentially will become inactive, but for the time being no request should be from that. So that's one of the requirements that we will be looking at today. So this field has now been created. So what I will do now is we will go back to here and let's go find this field. So let's just refresh that so that list could update, and now we should be able to see suspended. So we'll do that, remove this, we don't need name, and there we go. So that's essentially the configuration done. So now if we were to go back to our special handler notes again, let's just refresh so we can update those lists. Okay, so here user should be available. Let's select that, and we will now do the attribute where suspended is true. Save this. Okay, and that should do it. So if I now go to here, there's a few things that we need to do on this user record. So what we will need to do to allow the pop-up to be displayed is if we go to the form design, okay, and then we just scroll down to formatters. There is the special handling notes pop-up. So essentially you can put this anywhere. What I would suggest is just create a new section just so that you could manage this a little better if you need to remove it in the future. Let's just make it a one column. Not that it really matters because it doesn't really pop up on the form, it will just pop up upon session or upon loading of it. It doesn't actually create a section, but yeah, so we'll put that there. And if we just refresh this now, okay, all right, so it's creating sections. So we could actually just put this somewhere below here, and that we just remove this section actually. Okay, so the field is not visible, but it is there in the background, and that section would be nice, but because it has that container, it might not be what you want to showcase. So we'll leave it like this, and essentially now, if I click suspended and save this, what should occur? Okay, let me just make sure. I don't know if we've actually saved this one. Let's just make sure it expires on display pop-up as alert. Yes, okay, let's just save this one more time. Okay, now let's refresh this. And there we go. So we can see suspended use. The user has been suspended, so please do not action any instant requests. And this is the out-of-the-box message that has occurred. You can see the color is blue. Now, this is based off a property back here, which is the priority. So if you were to change this to any one of these, each of these have a different color. I believe moderate is green, high is orange, and critical is red. So let's just show what a critical one would look like. And other than those color indications, I don't think there is anything else apart from maybe if there's multiple, it would all the priority ones at the top possibly. But yeah, this is essentially the functionality. So you can see it works for the user profile if the user is suspended. So now let's go to the incidents. So if I and let's search where the caller is able. Okay, so let's just create a new ticket for able just to show how this would look like. Okay, so one thing we probably need to do here as well is just add that formatter again. So yeah, let's go to the design view so we can see the formatters. Okay, what? Again, we'll just put it here for now. So now if I refresh this for this particular incident, it will pop up because the user is suspended. So you could have an incident, you could also extend this to other forms. But yeah, I hope this functionality helps, and there are a few things you need to do on the form layouts just to make it pop up. But out of the box, I believe this would work on the workspaces. But yeah, please let me know if you have any questions and if this helped. Thank you. Bye.